Today I'm doing a video on how to change a strut mount on a '08 Malibu. And this is the part that your strut goes through. And this is a little bearing right here. And I believe that's what's giving me the trouble on this one. If you don't have a spring compressor that's made for struts, if you don't have that, then I wouldn't even start this project, because there's no way you're going to get that spring down without a compressor. I've got the tire off, car's up on the jack, and we've got a stand up underneath it there. It's not really sitting on it, but in case something happened, it would hold it up. I've got my park brake on, and whatever you do for your own safety is up to you. And right here I've got just a crank jack, and I've got it underneath the lower control arm there. So when I take the strut off right here, that it's not just going to drop. The first thing I'm going to do is take off the 3 volts up here that hold the mount on. So this is a 13 millimeter. So there's a bunch of things that need to come off of the strut before you actually unbolt it here. The sway bar link is going to have to come off here. It's 18 millimeter. So if you can't get this nut off with the impact driver, it's going to want to turn with. So what I have here is a 18 mil hollow socket, and this is an 8 mil 1/4 inch drive socket. There's the ratchet. Inch drive ratchet. You should be able to get this off. And you might have to work it back and forth a little bit. And you should be able to work it out of there. So right on the side of the strut is a wire that goes to your ABS, and you'll have to take that off. It should just slip out. So just unplug it and pull it off to the side. On this side is the nut that holds this line on. It's a 10 mil. Has a little pin right there that fits down into a slot, and you can just pull it off to the side. The nuts on the side here are 18 mil. If you do have to hammer on the bolt, put the nut on so that it's on almost all the way. Be careful with it. Now this thing kind of hooks into place behind here. You can't get it off until you get the top bolt pushed in part way. Now I've got that out of my way so I can do the bottom bolt. You should be able to pull that apart here now. Came out a little faster than I wanted it to, but it's out. I've got one of the spring compressors on already, so I'm going to do the same with this one. And the ideal thing is to get them across from each other on the top. And there's pins that hold this in place. Make sure when you get it where you want it, that you snap it all the way down. Same for this side. Make sure that it snaps in. Just lightly until I know for sure it's where I want it. careful with this, there's a lot of pressure on these springs. Almost there. Okay, there's no more pressure on here. Once this comes loose on top here, and you can feel that everything's loosened up, on the end inside you're going to see a nut, and that's a 21 mil. I'm going to try and crack it loose here. The shaft is probably going to want to turn with. Oh, got lucky. Okay, so be very careful with this because, as Eric the car guy would say, this is a bomb. I'm just going to clean some of the dirt that's around in here, and especially where the bearing goes, make sure that it's nice and clean. And just blow the rest out with the air hose. Watch your eyes. I just wiped some grease around the inside of this just to keep the rust down a bit. And if you were paying attention when you took the other one off, this part goes in like that, and it snaps right around there. Just make sure the bearing stays in place until you get the nut on there. Should have actually done this first, but just put a little bit of anti-seize on the bolt on the inside. In case you ever have to do this again. Just get the nut started on the end. And this is going to want to turn with, so it looks like it's about as tight as it was. Should undo each one of these spring compressors evenly, just a little bit at a time. Just using a little bit of white lithium grease, and then I'm going to spray it on there a bit, and spray it around here. Help keep the rust down and help get that rubber on there a little bit easier. Okay, everything's all together. Just make sure that this turns fairly freely. Now, if you were paying attention at the start, before you took this out, there's a flat side to this, and that goes towards the inside on the Malibu, towards the engine. Then just reach up here and get the nut started from the top. Okay, so I'm just going to use a tapered punch to line this bolt up here. Watch that brake line. On this side you'll be able to see once the bolt gets pulled in all the way. They got splines in there. So the next thing is the sway bar link. I'm just going to use a little persuasion down here to pull this link down. And it slides right in. You should be able to get that tight with the impact. It's on there. Okay, and now you can hook your wire back up here. Make sure it clips in all the way. That's for your ABS. And put the wire back into place here. You might have to hold the bracket from the back. It tends to bend. There's a little slot on this side where this pin slides into. And just slide that back into place. And this is a long nut that goes on there. Until that pin tightens itself back up in that slot. I'm going to turn my impact up to medium now. And tighten up these here. Okay, once you get everything put together and you get the wheel on, I highly recommend that you use a torque wrench. Get the hubcap back on. And now for the best part, we get to go for a test drive. The new mount's all in place. See what it does. Okay, so far sounds pretty good. How's it handle?